Hello, everyone. I just thought I would get on and um, bring Andrew on. This is my husband, Andrew, good looking fellow. Um, so I thought we would jump on and we would share about just our process of being married and what it looks like. So a bit of our background is that I was raised in a nominal Christian home. Wasn't spirit filled or anything like that. Andrew's background is that he had no idea God even existed, basically. Um, I'm very prophetic. Like everything is like wild and off the wall and like there is no holds bar. And Andrew is very practical, very stable, very doesn't like change, all those sorts of different things. And so we're pretty much completely opposite to each other. But for some reason,
It
for lots of
works.
for lots of reasons, it works and we've survived. Um, and it has been a process. So I thought we would just jump on together and just share some of our process because lots of you randomly ask questions about it and about what it's like to be married to someone that's prophetic, all those sorts of different things, especially when we've walked through the process of you. So when we got married, you weren't saved, and I was saved. And we went through a process of oh, it was pretty interesting. I mean, I think I Bible bashed you for a fair few years and forced you to do things that you probably didn't want to do. But I didn't know anything else to do but that. And so um I don't even remember what year you got saved. You we were living in Adelaide when you got saved.
Uh, yeah, I think so. It's been that long ago.
All I remember about you getting saved is me saying something about you need to get saved, and you were like, "Oh, I already did that." And so that just explains Andrew to a T. He's like very practical, very like doesn't make a big deal about things.
Don't
He
want to be in the
doesn't
spotlight.
want to be in the spotlight, doesn't even tell his wife, who's been praying for him to get saved, that he's already saved. He's already had an encounter and he's already like, oh, I'm already saved. And I'm like, you are? Okay. So that's basically that's that's how it happened. That was that was what happened. So what was I gonna say? So what what's been your experience? Like we've just said, like you had no gauge, no context at all. And as you started to experience it all, what what was your initial thoughts and feelings around it compared to what it is now?
Oh, when when it first started, I thought, oh, you're a loony. I just didn't because I didn't understand the whole thing because like Lou said, my family and background was you know, non-existent to Jesus or anything like that. I think the only time we went to church was like weddings, funerals, stuff like that. So that like paints the picture in general. But there was a few times, like Lou had said, that like I'm a kind of person if I don't like something, I'll dig my heels right in, and it doesn't matter what happens. It's like nah, you can't budge me. But there's a few times there where Lou had organised some meetings and stuff like that, or some things to go to, and I went to a few of them. Like some of them, getting dragged, kicking and screaming. But now that I look back on it, that was I think the foundation to start understanding, um, what not at that time what a prophet is, but just in general, like a person that hadn't been saved, didn't know the Lord, anything like that, to the first kind of stepping stones. So from that, um, like the one thing that I always kind of put before anything else. If Lou wanted to go to like a seminar or go to, if she needed to go interstate for anything like that, I let her do it. It was just like, I'm not stopping you doing what, the Lord wants you to do. So I've always been the person to say to Lou, if she asks, oh, can I go to such and such in like New South Wales? I'm like, yeah, sure, go. Don't worry about us. Just do what you need to do. So
And
from
that was even before you were saved. That was you always, I think something that you've always done is that you've always loved me no matter what it looks like. And even when you didn't understand it, you still wanted me to be who I was
yeah,
and to be able to do what I felt like I wanted to do, even though you didn't understand it.
yep, yep. So um speaking like as Lou's prophetic, um when I first started noticing that in her, it was things she would say to me, or she'd have a dream and she'd wake up through the night, and it's quite, I don't know how she does it. She'll wake up and it'll be pitch black dark, and she'll have the notepad and pen out, and she'll be writing away in the dark, and you can't even see where the pen or paper is, and she just writes it all out line by line, like on the lines and everything. And then the next day she would tell me what she had a dream about. Sometimes it might be something to do with us. Sometimes it might be to do with other things. But I've noticed that as time went on, um, like the dreams become more frequent. Um, Praying at night over things and stuff like that. But it really come to a point where, and that's like in the beginning how Lou said it's like chalk and cheese kind of thing. Lou would say, I think we're meant to move like states, just straight out, just sell the house, that we have to move. And I'm like, nah, dug the heels in, not happening, because I don't like change.
Because you'd lived in the same
Yeah.
town your whole life
Yep.
and we had all our family there, everything.
Yep.
But I was like, I really feel like this is what God wants us to do. And you weren't even really saved. You weren't saved at that point. You were just
Yeah.
coming along to church randomly,
Yep.
doing stuff. So
Yep.
yeah.
So Lou would say, I think we need to move to Adelaide. And I'm like, I don't think so. I'm like, why? But and it was quite funny. But
It is now, wasn't then.
um and a lot of people said, oh, you're going to move over there because of such and such is over there and stuff like that. But that wasn't the case at all. It was just Blues like, I think the Lord's telling us we need to move there for what He wants us to do. And at that time, I still didn't really fully understand. And that's why I kind of hit the brick wall and said, no, at the moment, just wait and we'll see what happens. Um, and then we end up going on a holiday over there, and on the way back, I could feel something changing me, and I turned around and said, Lou, you know what? Let's move here. So it's things like that where Lou Lou will have this like dream or something like that, and um she will say, or I think we need to do this or we need to do that. And I'm kind of practical in a way where I'll like, hang on, let's just like see what happens first, see what paths where we're going, and then we can kind of draw a conclusion to that.
And we had to learn that though.
Yeah.
We had to learn that as we went along. At the start, when I would share stuff, and I knew that I knew that I knew that that's what we were supposed to be doing, we used to have big arguments about all that sort of not bad arguments, but like I actually think we're supposed to be doing this. And because you didn't like change and you didn't understand it all fully, you were like, no, 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 we're not doing that. And I had to learn to just pray and ask the Lord to, if this is right, then you're going to move on his heart and something's going to shift, and then it would shift.
Yep.
And you would, like you said, we were coming back from Adelaide and you just turned to me and you said, I think we're supposed to move to Adelaide. And I was like, and I mean, we got back, that was in September. We got back from the trip, the end of September. and we were renovating a house had been living in for 6 years. We had three small children. Sam was, I don't know, 4 months old, 5 months old, and he had silent reflux, which had slept for 5 months. And we finished renovating the house and we sold the house in December. And so it was definitely God.
Yeah, like even that, like
Yeah.
the house, we didn't even get a for sale sign on the front fence of the house. It was sold within a week.
So even though you weren't like actually saved or anything, you were actually experiencing all this stuff of like,
Yeah,
wow, this stuff is happening. So you were living it out whether you realized it or not, and it was kind of building a story for you and like, okay, that actually worked. Like that happened the way it was supposed to happen and all these sorts of different things.
yep. So over the course of time, like we've moved states a couple of times, and it's been the same things. Lou's Lou's
Australia.
Lou's had Lou's had the dreams and stuff like that, and she'll tell me about it like clockwork. I'll say, yeah, hang on, Lou, stop, 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 and just think about this for a while, and then things would happen, and like by the Lord, things would happen, things will get put into place. I'm like, you know what? No, that's it. I've seen the confirmation of different things and stuff like that, and it all matches up. Let's do it. So, we've moved from New South Wales to Adelaide to then going around Australia with the kids, um, and then going back to Adelaide, getting all the gear and moving up to Queensland. So, and even for me, when we moved to Queensland, it was quite hard to find a job to start with. But then, like I'd get up every morning, hit the computer, put all the resumes through. I'd look for like 10 jobs a day, like just anything, and nothing was happening. And one day, um, I think it was your mum showed me in the paper, there was an advert in the paper for this job. And like my background, I used to be an industrial spray painter. I used to paint tractors and farm machinery and stuff like that. So I'd done that for quite some time. And my mother-in-law said, "Oh, look at this. This job might suit you." And it was a leading hand, I think, in a tractor and bulldozer place as a
Right.
supervisor in the paint shop, which is what I used to do. And I just kind of brushed it off at the time, like, no, I'm not that good for that type of job, being out of it for a little while and stuff like that. And so I end up letting it pass. And then lo and behold, one day this job popped up and I thought, oh, that suits me to a T. Put in for the job. An hour later, got a phone call, come in and see us. And it happened to be this place that this job advert was from when the mother-in-law showed me. And then started work. A couple of months later, I ended up being the leading hand in this position. So God showed me that even though I thought I wasn't good enough for that and I just let it go, he virtually brought it back again. It's like, no, this job is for you. And and it was just mind blowing. And that was within a matter of 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't apply for the leading hand job, you let it go, and then there was a lower position later on that he applied for and thought, oh, I can get that, that'll be fine. And so they gave him the lower position, and then within 4 months, the guy that they had picked for the leading hand job, I think this is how it went, the guy that they'd picked for the leading hand job that Andrew was meant to go for, couldn't cope with it or something. He left or
Yeah.
something. And so then they were like, hey, how about you fill the position,
Yeah.
which was the position he was supposed to fill anyway.
Yeah.
So,
And it's been like that. Like I've come to realize now that like moving states and the jobs that I've picked up, it's been the same kind of deal. Um, I'm thinking, oh, I'm never going to find nothing. Something pops up, and before you know it, I'm in the place where I'm supposed to be. Um, and it's like I've just walked into this job after a break that I've been there for years. I just like it's I've been doing that job forever. So I've come to kind of learn that um like before when I didn't have much to do with the Lord and now being with Lou, and I've learned a lot of things. And I think it's mainly through Lou than going to, like, I've been to a couple of conferences and stuff like that. And to me, I'm like, this is not my thing. Um, but Lou goes as well. But I think I've learnt more from Lou in knowing what the Lord can do more than like going to a conference. And it's been more of trusting in what he can do, and knowing that, like, if you press in, that whatever has been promised to you will come. You think that's right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But I think also it's that in the midst of it all, we had to understand that we both have a walk with the Lord and they're both different and they're both separate because we're both different people. We're both called for different roles and things like that. So I'm actually called to minister within the body of Christ, and Andrew is too, but he's in a different capacity and a different way to do it. And so we had to learn, like, it's okay for him to have his own walk because for years I actually was like, it doesn't look like how I want it to look. Like his walk doesn't look like how I want it to look. I want it to look like something different. Like, oh, let's make it look like this. And I had to come to a place where I was okay with it looking like what our walk looked like together and what his looked like separately. And so, like he said, he's not big on going to conferences and things like that. He has been to some, and some he probably got more out of than others. And I had to be okay with that. But he still allows me to go to all of them. Like, if you want to go for it. It's
Like,
not like a arrogant, oh, if you want to go. It's like, if you want to go, then do it. But I also had to be okay with the fact that he has he has a different walk with the Lord, and he doesn't he doesn't think that that's part of where he gets fed. And so, and that
I,
has to be okay.
I think some of the conferences I went to just to see what it was like,
Hmm.
some I didn't like. Some were like, no, I'm going home. Some others I got a little bit out of it. And it was the things that I needed to hear and to experience for myself to understand a lot of things.
And
Um,
some of that's not actually stuff that people were talking about up the front. Some of it was interactions with people
yeah,
at
yeah,
places
yeah.
like, even when Rayma came that first time, you
I met some really nice
you met
people.
some really good people
Yeah,
and you got prayed for and things like that.
yeah,
And so it's not actually always about um like all of the stuff we assume that it is God's doing whatever he's doing in
yeah,
each of us, and it needs to look like that, and we have to be okay with that sort
yeah.
of process.
And that comes back to, like, I suppose the main kind of question that you'd been asked about what's it like to live with, like, a prophetic.
To live with me.
Yeah. Well, at first it was quite weird, but I had to let Lou go and do the things she needed to do, like, through the Lord. That's, like she said before, that's what her calling is. So I had to trust that trust and let her go to do these things. Like, it didn't worry me. Um, but I didn't fully understand it then. As her husband, I thought, oh yeah, she's just going to conferences, she's going, having tea, coffee with the ladies and stuff like that, and have a bit of a chin wag. But like I said, the couple that I did go to with her, then I it's hard for a husband that hadn't been with the Lord to go to things like that. And it is quite, I can understand most husbands that are in that same situation. It's you feel like you're getting dragged there and you don't want to go, but um there's it only takes one time to go to see what it's like, and it could change his perspective on things, and you might not see any different. But
And I must say, I didn't see much difference to start off with. Not that there was like, and I think that was something I had to let go of as well, where it was like I expected some massive dramatic change in you and to be like, I'm fully on fire and let's go and blah blah blah. But you do love the Lord and you have a relationship with him, but it doesn't look the same as what my relationship does.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean mine's better or yours is worse.
No.
It just looks different.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn to be okay with it and to be okay. It took me years to be okay with the fact that I had to get past the fact that other people would be making comments about it. Like, where's your husband? Why isn't he here?
Yeah.
All these sorts of things. Like, it's expected of you to have your husband here, basically, and all these sorts of different things. And so, I mean, we walked through a whole process with all of that sort of stuff. Um, and
And that is hard.
yeah, it
But
is hard, but you have to be it's what's going on between you both, not about what everybody else is thinking and what
exactly.
everyone's opinions are about
Yeah.
it, because they don't know the inner workings of what's going on.
No.
They don't know,
And
like,
like you
I have
said,
to be married to him for the rest of my life, so I have to make sure he's okay and what our relationship is in comparison to what
yeah, like
other people are
everybody's
thinking
walk's
about it.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just have to be okay with that. And it probably took me a while to be okay with it because I was worried about, because I have performance issues. I have to look like I'm something that they are expecting me to look like, even though I have no idea what they're expecting me to look like. But you were less worried about that sort of stuff. And I was like, we can't be not worried about this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you weren't.
I don't take things
You
to
weren't
heart
worried
that
about it.
much. It doesn't worry me.
You were
Yeah.
like, I don't care what they say.
But I've learnt that over the years that Lou would have dreams written down and stuff, and she would decipher them. And I thought, oh, it's just part of me, another one of them things where she thinks she knows what she's doing. But then when I started looking at it, I'm like, well, she does know what she's doing because she's following the path that the Lord wants her to be on. So, there's a lot of things now that I do listen to Lou about when she says, something that she's had a dream about or a vision or what she thinks that we should be doing next. So for me to come from virtually nothing to where I am now and walking my own path, like with moving states, finding jobs, defining jobs and leading to what it should have been to start with and all that type of stuff that I've then I've learnt myself that the Lord had that plan for me, whether I knew it or not.
Which you can see now.
And I can see now, like it's been a long, lengthy process. It hasn't been just a short, couple of years. It's been 20 plus years, I think. Um, and the road hasn't been easy, like Lou said. You do have a lot of rough times, and you kind of question things and stuff like that, and think, well, are we doing the wrong thing?
Well, we were flying blind a
Yeah,
lot of the time because we didn't have anyone um to go to
no,
for
well, virtually on our
wisdom and
own.
everything.
Yeah,
We just had to rely on the Lord. And for me, that is easier than you, and you were walking through a process yourself.
yeah,
And I mean raising kids that were that believed in Jesus and all those sorts of things. Even at the beginning, you were like, okay, I don't understand it, but all right, if that's what you think we're supposed to do. Like
yeah.
when I'd say, I feel like we need to do this, or um like lots of things, but it made
There's
us
no
deal with
harm,
our issues in the
and
process.
there's no harm in giving it a go either. Like, what's the worst that could happen? You just end up in the same spot still,
Yeah,
or it is something that the Lord has said, and you take that door, and away you go.
yeah. Do you think that because of the process that you walked, going from I have no idea, you're weird, to now going, okay, whatever she says, I think I need to really listen to because I trust her and I trust God and the process we've walked through. Do you think that um that's kind of how you've shifted along because of your process and the journey that we went on, and it kind of built a place of like, okay, that happened. Oh, okay, that happened. Oh, okay. I think God's like he's done this, and this. All right, he probably might do this. And so it kind of began to build this story with God where it was like, okay, I can trust him more and more, and he's more and more real to me. And I think part of that is what actually our journey um was God being real, becoming real to you in a practical sense. It was never about religion. And so for us, I had to deconstruct from heaps of religion and everything because I'd grown up in a Christian home, and you had no basis at all. So you were kind of like, all right, I'm starting from scratch. And it kind of like I went backwards to this place and you went forwards to this place. And so um it's like this journey we went on where he was kind of building this relationship with you through the processes of everything that was going on.
Oh yeah, I think that the whole process from where we started in New South Wales to where we are now, it's been nothing but the Lord. Like there's no way that we'd be where we are now without him. The things that we've done, you know, moving states, going around Australia, um, finding a place in Queensland, and everything happens at the right time when we knew it would, because the Lord showed us that this is what's going to happen. So you trust in him and know that what he says will come true, and up to this point in time, everything that he's promised us, told us where we would be, what we should do. We've like I've learnt to follow that now, and here we are in Queensland, and 100%. It's just been all him. Wouldn't have done it without him. There's no possible way. Some of the things I've experienced in like finding jobs, the way that it's happened, um, even having extra cars when we needed them and stuff like that. It's just it happens, and you just got to learn to thank the Lord and know that he's done it for you.
Yeah. And I think if we like you saying all that sort of stuff, it shows that God is very personal, like in the walk that he's walked you through, because he knows who you are specifically. He knows you're practical. He knows you always used to say to me, I just want to know that he's real.
Yeah,
Like at the beginning, like when I would say like you need to get saved and all these sorts of different things, you would just be like, I just want to know he's real. Like, why can't he just show me that he's real and then I'll believe? And so it was kind of like those initial days where you were like, if he would show me he's real, then I'd believe it. And if he's not going to show me he's real, then like, what's the point, really? And so it was kind of like God took you on this journey of like, okay, this is how Andrew works, and this is how I'm going to have to show him that I'm real, and I'm going to build my relationship with him that way.
yeah,
And so through who I was and that's just how he did it, really. It was like, but I mean, the process of that, even those sorts of things, it took me a long time to be able to share. Like I would randomly share stuff, and I had no idea back in the day. I would be like, oh, I had this weird dream, and I don't even know what it means. And you'd be like, well, don't ask me.
yeah,
And but as I started to understand it all more and understand what he was saying, it kind of I had to get braver at sharing stuff, and you had to be braver at like, okay, well, what does that mean?
yeah.
Um, all those sorts of different things. So it's definitely been interesting. I mean, what did it feel? What did it feel um, like raising the boys in it? Because I mean, I was very open with all of that stuff with the kids. Like we would talk about angels, we would talk about all these different things. And I mean, when we would talk about stuff and you would be part of the conversations, um, Like we experience stuff like when we would talk about different things like that. I mean, one time we were talking about in the lounge room, and we had a knock on the door at night, and we went to Andrew opened the door, and there was
Oh yeah,
nobody.
that
There
was
was nobody
weird.
there. Walked out the
Yeah.
front, nobody was there at all. Like, and they couldn't have run away at that speed or hidden at that speed from when we opened the door, and it was just like, and
Yes.
I remember the kids like, it was an angel, it was an angel.
Yeah.
And so even like through the kids' innocence and their ability to like suck it all in and like just take everything like as truth, did that help the process or did it make it harder because they were looking to you and me like, this is real, this is right. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. And you were like, I have no idea.
I can't see him.
I have no idea. And yeah, and that
Yeah.
was one of the things you used to be like, I just want to see an angel because then I'll know it's real.
Yeah.
And the kids would be like, oh, I saw an angel go behind the cupboard last night. No, there's an angel here and it's got gold wings and this angel's got that. And you would be like, I can't even see any of it. What is wrong?
Yeah.
Did it make it harder or did they sort of spur you on in the whole process?
Well, it did make it hard to start with. And I thought, oh, they're just saying it just because, they want to, what would be the word? Um,
Good imaginations.
yeah, good imaginations. Like they probably thought they needed to perform,
Hmm.
but um,
Or they were just going along with whatever I said.
yeah, yeah. But it wasn't until like I saw an angel for myself that um that I then believed what the kids were seeing and stuff like that. And because the kids were more into it, because I used to work, come home. I used to work long hours and weekends and stuff like that. And it would get to the point where it would be like I just didn't have time for that stuff anymore. It was just like eat, sleep, work, repeat kind of thing. And I didn't go to well, I went to church, but it kind of got to the stage where like can't do church. I just need to sleep. But after I kind of got over that and started to go back to church a fair bit, that's when I like started seeing the different things as well. Um, I don't know if it was probably because I wasn't looking for that, and I wasn't in my heart prepared to like let them things happen. But at I not once did I try to like dissuade the kids about that type of stuff because I knew that's what they saw. And because I couldn't see that from my own eyes, it didn't mean that it wasn't real. Um, so it was a little bit hard to start with the kids, with them growing up and then seeing things that I didn't. But at the same time, like each one of them had their own little walks in life and stuff like that. Sometimes they would see some, sometimes they wouldn't. Then
Some of them saw
one
angels and
one
some of them didn't see
yeah, one
angels.
kid would see him all the time and others wouldn't, and they're like, "Oh, it's not fair. You saw an angel and I didn't." But
One would see demons and the others would see angels
yeah,
and be like, I don't want to see the demons anymore.
but even to now, like they're grown up now, and they still press into that type of stuff as well. Our eldest has always got his Bible out, going over things and pressing in more, and it's leading him on to greater things. But it's just that individual walk with each of them, like where they feel they need to be. So at the light at the end of the tunnel, like it was hard to start with, but then it come easy, and it just all fell into place.
Yeah. I guess um what was I going to ask? Um I think, I mean, hindsight's always a great thing where you can look back now and you can see. And so something that I've talked to everyone in the community about is like your prophetic process. And so everybody has a process of walking out their relationship with the Lord and all those sorts of things. And so now you can look back and see that there is a process and that God had his hand on all these things. And I mean, you talk openly about like how you um you knew that you were supposed to marry me, like you didn't want to marry anyone, you didn't want to get married, you didn't want to have children. You told me that when we first um started started hanging out and just being friends. You just randomly said one day, I don't want to ever get married, I don't want to have children. And I was like, that's cool, I don't want anything to do with you anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then like maybe, I don't know, 6 months later we were engaged. And so even like there's like you can look back now and you can see that God's hand was all over like your life and my life, bringing us together for the purpose of us being together. But you wouldn't have taken any notice of it to start off with, but now you can look back and you can see
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. Hey,
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. This just took me a little while to see it that way.
I mean, yeah. And so, but we both had different understandings of it. And so when so when we talk about all those sorts of different things, what we what we can ignore is the fact that like when we got together, you said that you just knew that you were going to marry me. Like you were like, what's the point of waiting any like, and we
Yeah.
hadn't been together for very long at all. Um, but you were just like, there was something in you that you just knew that it was right. And I mean, everyone told us we were crazy. But that's that place where God was already doing something and you were, unbeknownst to you, tapping into like saying yes to the process, really, saying yes to the walk you were about to walk on, whether you realized it or not. Even before you were saved, even before like you knew me properly, all those sorts of different things. It's like God's already orchestrating things, whether you realize it or you don't realize it. Hey,
Yeah. Yeah. Like I could have easily went the other way, but there was just something in me that was just like the Lord saying that you were the person that was picked out for me. And
even though you didn't know the Lord.
even though I didn't know the Lord at that time, there's something inside me felt like she was the one. And then, what is 28 years later, it's been a great journey.
Hard, but good.
Yeah.
Not easy, but yeah. So what else have I got here? Um, I think we've covered nearly everything that I've got written down.
Hmm.
Um,
Like I think from a husband's perspective that like has married somebody that's
weird.
not weird, but
I'm okay with being weird.
like it was a big deal when um Lou started going to all the conferences and stuff like that, and I didn't understand what it was about. But I think now like living with the prophetic, it's kind of cool actually because you can get
He gets inside
you
information.
can get insight on if you're asking the Lord about different things and it comes through like that. Like Lou will have a dream and think and say, the Lord is pushing us down this path, and I think that's what we should be doing next. And um, it's been hard to start with, but I've learned to trust my wife and what the Lord does through her. I think more than anything else, and then come to realize and trust that it's not just anything that's said to just put you down some path. It's like if they're pressing into the Lord and He gives them specific like doors or paths or dreams of what's going to happen, like if you don't press into it, then you're going to miss out. and I've learned to come to the fact that is to go with it. Like it's like we said before, like we wouldn't be where we are now if it wasn't for Lou, like being prophetic and saying, I think we should be doing this. The Lord's told me we need to, our next journey is this. And at the time you think this is just it's weird and it's like, why would I want to be doing
It's
that?
impossible.
But I've learnt to like trust in the Lord. Um Even back when I didn't really know him that great. Um because something inside of me thought, well, this it feels right. So, I've gone with the feeling as well. And it's all happened just as he told Lou through her dreams and the paths and stuff that he showed her. So it has been weird to start with, like as a husband that wasn't into all them types of things, as some blokes might think. Um, but I've learnt to grow with it and to trust my wife and know that she's not a loony and this stuff is real. Like prophetic people are real, and sometimes they can have some very powerful like words and some great directions and stuff like that, and that's not them speaking, that's passed down through them from the Lord. So if you get a prophetic person come up to you and have a word for you or something like that, I used to like, oh yeah, just shake it off or whatever. But now when I like at our local church, but now like that was a fair few years ago, I used to get a few good words and you just kind of brush them off, oh yeah, I've got the word, I look great and blah blah blah. But when I look back on it now, they were words from the Lord, and I should have acted on them back then. But I've gone to understand now that if somebody does give you a word, even though it mightn't feel like it's whatever it is that's happening, um, it's you got to press into it to make it happen. Just because you get the word doesn't mean that's it. This is what's going to happen and stuff like that. Um, so as a person that wasn't really following the Lord to start with, now that I know that, if somebody gives me a word, then you press into it and you got to run with it. Otherwise, you miss out.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
true.
Yep.
Um, okay, for the last thing, what what wisdom would you give for wives that have husbands that aren't saved, that don't understand it, that um, don't want anything to do with it, like all of the stuff that you were at the beginning?
Yep.
What kind of things would have helped you? This could be interesting. Um, like what kind of wisdom would you have, like from your experience? And I'm okay with this because if it pokes my stuff, then I'll just deal with my stuff because that's how it works. But like, what would have helped more? Like, what helped you? Like when I finally figured out that I shouldn't be nagging the crap out of you. Like what sorts of things helped you like embrace it more and understand it more and all those sorts of things, like that I did or that I didn't do anymore.
I think,
Stop pushing.
well,
Stop forcing.
well, everybody's different. So from my own experiences, I think that the whole going straight into it deep straight away probably wasn't the right thing. Um, because like I said before, I'm a person, if I don't like the change or anything like that, I just dig the heels in and that's it. It's just
Goes
that
the opposite
that's it.
direction to
It's
where
it's
you want
done.
him to go.
So I think little steps at a time, maybe don't go just like
Like, what do you mean by little steps? What kind of things to you in your brain is little steps? Because a woman's little steps will probably look different to what a
Yeah,
man's
yeah.
little
Well,
steps
like,
are.
don't just go throwing the Bible at somebody and saying, like,
Don't do
this
that.
is what we're doing, because, some blokes, that will be the end, and they'll just say, no, that's it, we're done.
Hmm.
Um, but for me,
Because I guess blokes feel like there's this set of rules that they have to abide by,
yeah,
and it's like I don't even understand it enough to be
yeah,
able to engage with it, to be able to say, yes, okay, I'll be obedient and do all this
yeah.
stuff.
I think just start small with some readings from the Bible, and so it comes across as, um, how would you put it? You're not dragging them into it, you're inviting them into it, I
Hmm.
think would be the
Hmm.
better word to use. Um,
Do you think that when I would just make it part of daily life, like I'd be like, hey, I had a dream, it's a weird dream, and 90% of the time you'd be like, I don't even know what to do with that. Okay, see you later. Do you think that like just making it normal part of our life where it kind of just became normal? Like it wasn't as weird because it was like it was always there. It's kind of like watching the same TV show over and over and over, and you're like, oh, that's not a problem anymore.
yeah,
Did that help?
I think if it's like, um, pardon me, if you would, like, say a few things like that through the week, a couple of days a week, um, it's it would be more or less not to frighten me away, but for me to think, like, to draw me in and think, oh, she's not having weird dreams, because the way she's saying them and stuff like that, it's making me want to know what it's about,
Yeah,
and
because
not and
I
not
don't
and
share everything with
yeah,
you these
and
days
not
because
just,
I know not to share everything because it's like some of it you're like, that's got nothing to do
yeah,
with me.
it's
I've got to do.
just not weeding people out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think probably, yeah, not so much just throwing the Bible at them and saying this is what we're doing, but just like,
Do you feel like experiencing God helped you more than like you should follow these rules. You should come to church, do what's expected of you. Do you think like the personal encounters where it was like, oh, she had a dream and then this happened and then
oh yeah, for sure,
all that sort
yeah,
of stuff
yeah,
started to shift your mindset of like, actually, there might be something to this
yeah,
more than
like
anything else.
me personally, the whole we're going to church every Sunday thing, that nearly killed it for me. It got to the point where, I stopped going to church, mainly for that fact. Like, no, I'm just over this. Every Sunday, you're wasting half my day going to church. I had things to do, blah blah blah. But, um, and I think it's it's the particular types of churches you go to as well. There's some churches we've been to that have been great, fantastic. You want to go there. You want to, like, listen to the sermon, stuff like that. You want to have your own little encounter with the Lord. There's some other churches like nah, it's not for me. And, I think the whole, like, to for somebody who, um doesn't know the Lord that much, I think the dragon and the church thing might probably be too much to start with. Um, I think something at home, like, you read a few passages out of the Bible or something, having them like first-hand experiences too, I think would be more than anything the best way to know, or it shows the person, hey, he's done this and
Mhm.
he's done that and he's made this happen for us. And it's just like my partner or husband, wife, has, kind of had a talk to, and said, this is what I think, um that's going to happen. And I think that instead of pushing them away with the, like, Bible bashing type things, it actually draws them in to want to know, like, oh, this is great, this has happened. And we were nearly down and out, and the Lord said to, either partner, this is going to happen, and it's pulled them back up, and then they start, it feeds them to want to know. instead of the opposite, like going to church every Sunday, sit down, XYZ, read your Bible, and that's it. I know from my experience, that as a male perspective, like that killed it for me. It because I'm not like that. I don't, I'd rather go to a church and listen to a sermon where they can actually engage with me in their sermon. And and that was the main things at church that I used to love going to, to meet people as well. But and then you go to another church where you can tell straight away that it's just not right, it's just not for me. So and then it kills it. But eventually, like, I never used to go to church to start with, and then we found a church that we liked. And then we were going to church, and I used to love going to church, take the kids to church, meet everybody and stuff like that. And then when we moved and we were trying to find a church that would be the same, it wasn't the same. And I think that for me is when it started falling off a little bit, because um I couldn't engage with it, because some of the things, like, I'm a kind of person, I'll sit there and listen to a sermon and it drives Lou nuts. And I'll say, that's not right. I don't think that's how that went. And I'll constantly ask Lou, is that how it went? And she'd say, oh, I don't know. So I would kind of, what would you call it? Fact check in a way. And it used
Just
to,
like your discernment bells were going off.
yeah. And because I have great discernment, and I'd turn around and say to Lou after that, I don't think that was right. Um, and I'm not the kind of person that says that all the time, but when I do say it, that's because the Lord's like checked something with that, and I know that He's checked that through me, and it's just not right. But
Even before you were saved, you were like that. Like
yeah,
when we first started, when we were married and everything, and I was a Christian and you were dabbling on the edges of it, you had really good discernment about things. And I had to learn over the course of time to actually trust that
yeah,
discernment.
and I think that's like there's two people that's come together through the Lord. Um, one that says never getting married, never having kids, now to how we are now. And then I think He's brought us together. And it's really weird, because for a person who started out not knowing church, the Lord, didn't want anything to do with it,
Anyone saved,
to
anyone.
now, like I could probably be, um I wouldn't call myself a role model, but if somebody that was like me, that started out in the same way, didn't know the Lord, didn't really want to know the Lord or anything like that, if they just and I think this would be really good if they were introduced to somebody like me, and they've had like a journey that they could explain to them. I think that would make a big difference in opening their eyes up to see what can become of being with the Lord.
We get to see that fulfilled.
But like, yeah, the discernment wise, like Lou would say, we're going to do this. And I'm going to say, no, we're not doing that yet. Why not? It's because I don't think it's the time. And then,
And prophets are always about 25 million years ahead in everything because they see into the future. And so and it took us a long time to realize that I was really far ahead and I could see something that was in the future and I thought it was now, which is immaturity in me. And he was like, no, 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 it's not for now. And I would say, you don't understand. I've got a word from the Lord. And he would be like, I don't care what you've got. And then he would rein me back into this place. But then I had to learn over years that when he says it's time to go, it's exactly at the moment that
Yeah.
it's time for us to, the Lord has ordained for
Yeah.
us to go. And so I had to trust that and realize in my immaturity, and I had to mature in all those things, of that just because I can see ahead and I can see what's coming doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
right this second. And
Yeah.
so yeah, you're always a good balance in that place. It wasn't nice to start off with because you don't want to be told no,
Yeah.
that's not happening right now. But it was never
Well, it's never no,
it was
no
never
period.
no
No,
period.
yeah.
Like, it
It was
was,
just no, not right now.
yeah,
It's not the time.
we were learning to do it at
Yeah.
the same.
So you'd be the accelerator and wanting to go with it, and I'd be the brakes. Nah, stop for a second. Just think it out. So I think, yeah, my journey that's taken place with Lou now, we've come to learn that yes, we're both different, but
And that's okay.
but under the Lord, we're um we're meant for each other, to check each other. Like I said, my discernment, Lou's prophecies, stuff like that. It's just, it keeps each other in check, I think. And I think that's what the intended um purpose was from the Lord for both of us.
Just had to yield to the process,
Yeah, yeah.
which takes a long
It's taken a long time, but I think that,
and you've got to learn who each other are as people as well.
yeah,
And that takes years of being married and things like that, just normally.
yep,
And then you realize, okay, that person's got strengths that I don't have, and I've got strengths that they don't have, and you've just gotta allow it to happen.
yeah. And that comes over time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And a lot of hard conversations.
yeah, yeah. I think you have to share with each other to understand like where each person's coming from, and you can find that place in the middle, and you'll know it's right because the Lord will make it feel right in your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, we better stop chatting because I'm sure this has gone for ages.
Sorry,
So,
people. So living with a prophet, it's not that bad.
I'm gonna remind you of that.
Um, yeah,
Weird.
it's not that bad at all, and
I'm less weird now than what
you get a lot of good things out of it. You can
some
virtually
interesting weird things too.
foresee the future.
I don't know what the lottery
But
numbers are.
no, I think that it's not all doom and gloom and gobbledygook and stuff like that. It happens for a reason, and that's through the Lord. So I've had to not had to learn, but I've over time I've learnt that to put trust in that, and I've seen for myself that it is real, and it in the end it does work out. The prophecies do come true in some way or another, and it all ties together. And then what would you say, confirms that in my mind, and makes it even more real for me as well, knowing that yes, it is, um, it is what the Lord's doing, and it's nothing but. So 28 years, she hasn't killed me yet, so the Lord's doing wonderful things, and just just learn to trust the Lord, and what He's doing through like my wife, and because we wouldn't be or have done some of the things that we've done if it wasn't for Lou,
And
um
her craziness.
and the craziness having then prophecies and stuff like that, and believing and trusting in the Lord that that's going to happen, and take that punt and do it, and here we are. It's all been accomplished, and everything he virtually has said to Lou or showed her visions and stuff like that's come true. So it's a win-win for me.
Win-win.
Yeah,
Win-win.
and it just shows me that yeah, the Lord does do things, and is in people's lives.
and he can be in yours
Yep.
because you don't have to be a prophet to hear his voice and get dreams and visions and
That's it.
understand all that sort of stuff.
Yep. I sometimes have weird dreams too, once in a blue moon, and they're very specific dreams. And Lou takes a pen and pencil and writes it all down on the paper,
Deciphers it.
and then deciphers it. And yeah, it's very specific things, and that over time is something that I've started doing as well. But
Guilty by association.
yeah, I don't usually dream, but when I do, it's very specific, straight in your face type kind of dream. It might only last for 10 seconds or something like that, but it means something, and learnt to not just think, oh, it's just a dream. You know, write it down and then follow up on it.
Geez, you're so prophetic.
No, I'm not.
Where'd you get that from?
You.
Wow. All right. Well, hopefully that helped everybody, and I'm sure we can have the man, the myth, the legend, Andrew Patrick Wilson back
Oh, no legend.
at some point. We might get him to be on a live Zoom. I wanted him to be on the live one, but he was a bit worried about the process. But now he's just done it. It's exactly the same thing. It's just there's other people watching it live.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. He'll be fine. He's a natural. Oh my gosh. All right.
Okay.
Bye.
See you guys.